IBS, irritable bowel syndrome. In this video, we'll look at the 5 main warning signs and symptoms because a lot of patients, they get left on their own here by the doctor and they're not sure if they have IBS or what to do. In fact, can you guess what percentage of people these days are believed to have IBS, both globally, but then also specifically in Western countries like the US, Canada, UK, and Australia? It's super fascinating and not what you think, and we'll get to that in a little bit, but consider what you think that number might be. Okay, so on to the first warning sign, but I also want to tease that number 4 and number 5 on this list are the big signs that nobody is talking about. So I really want you to learn about those. Now, let's start with number 1. So number 1 is garlic and onion cause digestive symptoms. So have you noticed this is true for you? And it can be a bit deceiving. It's not just literal garlic and onion pieces in your food. It can be garlic or onion in a sauce or dressing you always eat. It can be powder in a seasoning you're using. It can be labeled as spices on the ingredients list of a sandwich or soup or pasta you eat. There's so many ways that high concentrations of garlic and onion can be in our diet that we don't realize, especially if you occasionally eat food that you don't prepare yourself from scratch, right? Which is basically all of us when you get lunch at work, when you go out to a restaurant, when you get yourself a little treat at Starbucks. So why is this happening with garlic and onion? The problem is the FODMAPs, which are a group of carbohydrates that are found naturally in foods like onion and garlic. And these FODMAPs, they can ferment in our gut and cause symptoms like bloating, excessive gas, and diarrhea. And now you might be wondering, well, I thought garlic and onion was healthy for me. That is correct. It is healthy for you, only if you're not sensitive to it. So for those who are sensitive, typically IBS patients, we can have a negative reaction that far outweighs any nutritional benefits. And therefore, it's not so healthy for you if that is you. I hope that makes sense. It's a little bit like how spicy chili peppers, right? They're good for us if you tolerate them. They're vegetables after all, but they wreak havoc on your guts if you're sensitive to spicy food. And this brings me to warning sign number 2, recurrent diarrhea on most or all days. Now, this one is pretty straightforward, and so I won't spend a lot of time on this, but I need to mention it because of my duty of care as a dietitian. So please pay attention here. It's really important and it's really quick. If this point speaks to you, okay, make sure you get proper tests and scopes first from the doctor to get the all clear on anything more sinister in the gut, okay? Now, that's not to take away anything from just how severe and life-changing IBS can be, by the way, but the IBS diagnosis should only be given to you when the doctor cannot find anything else physically wrong in your digestive system. So the other thing you need to know here is that recurrent diarrhea left unmanaged leads to other major issues like nutrient deficiencies and fatigue. And so it's a big problem I'm going to talk more about at a later point in this video. Okay, on to warning sign number 3. You wear pants that are 1 to 2 sizes too big because of bloating. Nobody talks about it, but there are so many people that actually do this, that need to do this, because otherwise the bloating literally means their pants won't fit or close after they eat. And while slight stomach distension is normal after a big meal, of course, regular severe bloating to the extent of needing different size pants is not normal, but it's becoming increasingly common and it is a warning sign of severe IBS. Now, remember at the start when I asked how many people are thought to have IBS? Well, the answer is it's 11% of the global population, but in Western countries, it's over 20%, or 1 in 5 people with severe IBS. It's about double the rate of the rest of the world. So my thoughts on that are, was it always like this and we are just reporting it more now, and that's why rates are higher? Or is it because of our modern food systems or our modern lifestyles making our gut health and digestive issues worse? It's a topic for another video. If that's something you want covered, let me know in the comments. With regards to the bloating for warning sign number 3, I've written a full guide on how to overcome bloating. I'll put that in the description of this video so you can view that later on. So warning sign number 4 of severe IBS is chronic lethargy and daytime fatigue. Now, of course, there can be many reasons for this. Here's what I believe as it relates to IBS, which I touched on a little bit earlier. But if you regularly have diarrhea, like you have many loose bowel movements per day, then your body is not absorbing all the nutrients that you eat, as it doesn't have the time. So food is like passing through the digestive tract far too quickly. And so the intestines, where the main nutrients are absorbed, they don't have enough time to take what your body needs. It's like trying to catch rainwater in a bucket that is full of cracks and holes. Everything just leaks out. So the nutrients you are eating, they leak out of your system before there is a chance to absorb them into your bloodstream cells. Now, I believe this is a major problem for severe IBS, which is diarrhea predominant, that nobody talks about really. Even if we eat a nutritious diet and we take supplements and all the rest, if we have severe IBS, our body is not absorbing what we think and what it says on the nutrition label that you think that you're getting each day. And therefore, we're operating in a state of long-term nutrient deficiency, and it causes chronic fatigue and lethargy, among other issues, of course. The fifth and final sign of IBS may be the most overlooked and least understood by all of us. And before I reveal what it is, I want to share this quick story with you to see if you can guess what it is. So a client of ours, Sue, she had severe digestive symptoms that began to take over her life. The GI doctor had said, it's IBS, increase your fiber, take that fiber supplement, take probiotics, follow a low FODMAP diet. And this type of thing went on for 10 years for her, and nothing was helping properly or consistently. When we met her, there was one question we asked that flipped everything on its head for her. Because the problem was she had an executive level stressful job, always thinking about work, business travel regularly. She was always on. And so this was a question we asked her. When you're on vacation, Sue, where your lifestyle and diet and the environment around that are completely different from your regular routine, what happens to your symptoms? And she thought about it for a moment and she said, well, last Christmas I was on vacation and my eating was less structured. It certainly wasn't healthier, but my symptoms were actually a lot better. Isn't that so fascinating that she would say that? And so the lesson here, and warning sign number 5 for severe IBS, is that anxiety and stress cause symptoms to become much worse. And so the reason this happens is because of the vagus nerve, which is the main nerve connecting our brain to our heart and lungs and our digestive tract. Now, it's the reason that we get butterflies in our stomach when we're nervous, or that pit in the stomach when you get bad news or you realize you left your phone on the bus. That's the vagus nerve. Now, research shows this nerve can become hypersensitive in those who've experienced trauma, chronic stress, anxiety, or depression. And it makes our gut hypersensitive to what we eat, especially the FODMAP compounds. This is what was happening to that client, Sue, that I spoke about. When she was on vacation, that sensitivity in her vagus nerve subsided a lot. It went down. And that was good for her ability to tolerate foods. And so the good news is the scientific community knows more about treating this hypersensitive vagus nerve than we ever have before. And there are many options that I can explain for you. Now, if you're still watching this video and you feel like at some point, yes, this is me, you've described right then on that point or multiple points. What do I do about it now? I invite you to tap to watch this next video I made here, which recommends the next steps for IBS sufferers to actually treat the issue properly. I've also linked some of my in-depth articles in the description below this video if you prefer to read.